The Midwest and potentially the East Coast could be in for a significant severe weather threat as we approach the weekend. If we were to continue to move forward with what the European model is stating, we do see that when it comes to precipitation, it's mostly quiet throughout the lower 48. We do have some rain showers located in the Pacific Northwest as a result of a storm system that's moving ashore, and this same storm system is expected to bring plenty of instability to the Midwest. So we're going to need to pay close attention to this as it continues to move further eastward. But taking a look at the rest of the United States, we're going to see a big ridge build right around the eastern half of the United States, which will lead to much warmer than average temperatures, and the temperatures could be record breaking at times, as for many Americans along the East Coast, the temperatures should feel very summer-like, and it should be mostly sunny for the most part. So you might want to enjoy it if you're definitely if you definitely want summer conditions to approach a little bit quickly, because we're going to see it this week with this very strong ridge that's going to bring a strong southerly flow to bring much warmer than average conditions. But as we move forward, like I said, this trough coming from the Pacific Northwest will eventually move eastward, and there's going to be still plenty of cold air behind it. We still see snow in the higher elevations of the Cascades, so that really goes to show how much cold air is behind this trough. And moving forward with the forecast, we eventually will see a small low pressure system located right around the Gulf Coast, which should bring heavy rainfall at times, and I wouldn't rule out the possibility of flash flooding over the next 5 days. And this low pressure system will move quite slowly because, of course, it's in upper level low, so it's cut off from any of the strong westerly winds associated with the jet stream. So it's going to move very slowly, meandering over the same area as a result of weak steering currents located right around the Gulf Coast. So we could see very heavy rainfall, and it could lead to concerns when it comes to flooding right up along the Gulf Coast. So we want to pay close attention to that. But moving forward, we eventually see this trough, like I said, will move eastward, and like I said, the temperatures will be much warmer than average. We're going to see a very strong southerly flow where temperatures in the Northeast should approach the upper 80s, which is close to record breaking, like I said. And since we're seeing such warm temperatures throughout the eastern half of the United States, interacting with this very cool air mass located just to the northwest of this low pressure system, that's gonna set the stage for a highly convective environment to develop, because of course this cold air will force the lightly dense warm air mass to rise up a lot quicker, and that warmer air mass of course has much higher humidity, because in a warmer air mass the air molecules move a lot quicker, which allows more space to exist for water vapor, for the air mass to carry a lot more water vapor. So as a result, we're going to see a high chance of severe weather by this weekend, where by the Friday time frame, we do see that this storm will be relatively elongated for based on what the European model is stating, and we could even see some snowfall right around the Saturday time frame for the Midwest. There's still uncertainty regarding the exact track of this trough, because the GFS model is showing a different scenario where it isn't expecting as much cold air to exist in the Midwest for as significant of a severe weather threat to occur in the Midwest. And the GFS model expects a much smaller snow event to develop in the Midwest compared to at least what the European model is stating. But they both agree that there's going to be just enough of a jet stream dip to where thunderstorm activity could occur in the Midwest. Now, this forecast is still uncertain. I'm going around 5 to 6 days out, so there's still time to iron out the forecast. This scenario you're seeing right here could either bring a more significant severe weather or a less significant severe weather, depending on how much cold air will be behind this trough. And it's still the springtime, so there's still so these troughs are more than capable of bringing that Arctic air further southward, even as the temperatures are warming up for severe weather threat to occur in the Midwest. So it certainly isn't out the realm of possibilities, but we will just have to wait and see, because the computer models are still in pretty big I wouldn't say a major disagreement. They're both agreeing that there's going to be a jet stream dip, but there are some disagreements regarding how significant this jet stream dip will be and how much cold air will be located just so west of this low pressure system. But taking a look at the enhanced forecasted radar from the European model, we do see an elongated area of thunderstorms develop between Texas all the way as far north as the Great Lakes region, where we sort of do see a pretty significant squall line develop in right around the south central portion of the United States, where Memphis could get involved, as well as portions of Louisiana and Texas. So this will certainly be something you need to be at least aware of in those areas, because I will say that it's becoming increasingly likely that at least this area of the United States will experience thunderstorms by this weekend. We're just going to need to wait and see how significant those thunderstorms will be. And we'll see this jet stream dip move further eastward into the northeast. Now, the European model doesn't necessarily expect the thunderstorms to be as severe, but this trough will be much stronger. So we could see gusty winds associated with this storm system as it moves eastward, where we do see on the backside there's going to be a strong northwesterly flow that's pretty much going to be induced by this very cool ridge located just to the north of it, and very close in proximity to this more warmer low pressure system that's going to create a strong pressure gradient for those winds to increase, and we could see much colder than average conditions right after we experience much warmer than average conditions in the same area. So this will definitely lead to weather conditions much different from what you're going to experience later this week, because by early next week the temperatures will likely fall below average if we see the scenario come for fruition, which I do believe it will come for fruition at least to some extent, where we're going to see a jet stream dip right after this trough moves through. But the big question is how significant that jet stream dip will be. But I will say that it is increasingly likely that the Mississippi River Valley will experience at least some sort of severe weather threat, but we're just going to need to determine how severe, and that possibility even extends to the northeast as well, even though the northeast might not experience as significant of a severe weather threat. I'll keep you guys updated over the next several days. Now let me show you guys a GFS model's forecast. The GFS model is showing a fairly similar forecast, but like I said, there are disagreements with regarding how significant that jet stream dip will be and how much cold air will be behind this trough as it continues to move eastward. Moving forward with the forecast, we do see that this low pressure system will continue to strengthen, but we do see that the jet stream dip is much less significant. We see the cooler air mass located well further northward and the low pressure system a lot weaker, and we don't see snow on the northwestern portion of this trough once it approaches the Midwest. So we don't see as significant of a severe weather thanks to the lack of instability, at least compared to what the European model is stating. But moving forward, the GFS model eventually does expect the jet stream dip to become more significant, but it's going to be well further north and eastward by that point compared to when the European model expects a severe weather threat to develop. So it may not be as significant, mainly due to the fact that it's going to be further north and eastward, where the temperatures will be cooler and to the point where there might not be as much convective energy, since the air mass won't be able to hold as much water vapor, and the air won't be as lightly dense as, let's say, it would be in the Midwest. But we do still see a pretty long area of showers develop as the low pressure system continues to move eastward, and we still do see snow affect many of the Great Lakes areas, where we do see Michigan gets involved, and even Cleveland and Detroit could get involved with some snowfall even this late into the year, where where temperatures will be much cooler than average, like I said, thanks to this pressure gradient between this ridge and this low. But we do see fairly different when it comes to the severity of this severe weather threat. The European model is expecting a much more significant severe weather threat, while the GFS model is bringing at least some severe weather. It isn't anywhere near as significant thanks to a weaker jet stream dip. We're going to need to wait and see how the forecasts really iron themselves out before we can make a definitive decision regarding how severe this this storm system will be as we approach the weekend. But I'll keep you guys updated over the next several days. One thing I want to show you guys is a 500 millibar height anomaly, because it really emphasizes a point I'm trying to make in this video regarding how significant this jet stream dip will be and how much cold air will be associated with this trough as it moves eastward, because it will be very important in determining if there's going to be a significant severe weather threat or not. And we do see that for the European model's case, we see that there's a decent amount of cold air surrounding this trough as it moves eastward, and we do see a very strong ridge located right over the northeast and eastern Canada that's bringing a strong southerly flow that's bringing a lot of that warmer, humid, and more convective air mass further northward to create a much more significant severe weather threat. But we do see that in the GFS model scenario, it's very different. In the GFS's model scenario, we see that the scenario is very different, where we see that the cold air, while it is a lot more spread out, the thing is that since it's more spread out, we're going to see a less concentrated area where the instability will be very high. And when the instability is more spread out, there's less likely of a chance that the instability will be strong enough to induce a very highly convective environment for as severe of a severe weather threat to develop. So there's a reason why the GFS model isn't expecting as strong of a severe weather threat. We're going to need to see if the cold air will be more concentrated or spread out like the GFS models model scenario to really determine the impacts you will experience by this coming week. And I'll keep you guys updated, like I said. And here's the forecasted rainfall over the next 5 days. And the reason why I want to show you this is to show you how much rainfall is expected for the Gulf Coast over the next week, where we do see that the southern portions of Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas could easily experience close to 3 inches of snow and potentially even more than that. And this rain could fall at a very fast clip, so flash flooding certainly isn't out of the realm of possibility. So you want to pay close attention to this, and it's going to be very slow moving, this upper level low, as it moves northward. So the rain could last for a prolonged period to create a higher possibility of flooding. So keep that in mind right up along the Gulf Coast. So here's my forecast regarding the next potential major tornado outbreak by this weekend. So it's still a big question how significant this severe weather threat will be. This could potentially be a significant tornado outbreak if the European model scenario is a little bit more correct, and potentially even if it exceeds what the European model is stating when it comes to instability. We're going to have to wait and see over the next several days, but I'll keep you guys updated. But there is a general area where you could potentially see the worst of the severe weather, and I wouldn't be surprised if that moves a little bit further eastward. And also make sure to pay close attention to the record high temperatures this week, as a huge ridge is expected to bring a strong southerly flow to bring those temperatures close to record breaking at times. So keep that in mind as well. But I thank you guys for watching.